Thank you for joining us. Today's guest is wonderful Judy Batlin. She's organization development extraordinaire. A wealth of information on executive coaching, transformational leadership, etc. Thanks for being here, Judy.
I'm very excited to be talking with you, Mel.
So I like to start with 67 seconds of rapid fire round. So
Beautiful.
It's quick, yes, no, just one word answer.
Fun.
Describe yourself in one word.
Passionate.
Great. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird now. Used to be a night owl.
How did you start your day today?
It feels like a long time ago. With my workout, with my trainer, try to get my juices going and my mind paying attention, and then some football.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee, but only I can only do lattes here at home. We have a machine because I wouldn't be able to drink a black cup of coffee, and I limit myself to 2 a day, which is probably one too many. But
So my next question is your order at Starbucks. So we perhaps will be a latte.
It would be a tall non-fat vanilla latte with 2 Splendas.
Okay, we'll take it. Beach or mountains?
Oh wow, that is very difficult. I think
You don't have to choose. That's fine.
beach has a little edge, just a little edge, but it's pretty slim margin.
Go hiking or go to the spa?
Oh, spa, for sure. Yeah, I like the amenities. Feeling pampered. I don't like a massage. I only like facials and foot massage. When you do a facial and a foot massage at the same time, next level. It's amazing.
Picnic or fine dining?
Oh wow. I think I would pick a picnic because that seems like something we could do way more frequently. But every once in a while, it'd be fun to get all dolled up and go to a fine dining experience.
Favorite sport?
Basketball. Followed closely by football. Yeah.
Cats or dogs?
Say it again.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs, definitely. I've pretty much always had a dog in my life, even as a little kid growing up.
What kind of a dog do you have now?
Oh, he's the cutest Labradoodle ever. But I'm going to tell you, I got, I don't know what you call it. It was a bait and switch kind of thing, I think, because when I first saw Chewy, he was so tiny. And the so-called breeder said, oh, he won't get beyond 14 pounds. And he's 30 now. So I don't. There's an awful lot of poodle in him. I can tell you that, but he's adorable. He just turned 1.
Oh, that's special. I'm a dog person too, so I totally understand. Yeah.
Do you have a dog?
Poodle, standard poodle. He doesn't know if he's a dog. We forgot to tell her, but.
Well, they're part of the family, so they're entitled.
They are, but she knows it. So, Tina Turner or Celine Dion?
Tina Turner. Yeah.
A movie that made you cry?
Oh boy. Well, I'm a crier. Lots of movies make me cry. I'm just trying to think of the last. Oh, the movie I cried in the Bob Dylan movie. It can just be a certain theme or a look or a sentence, and it's over. Easy cry.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Anything, chocolate, caramel, nuts, peanut butter, and most of all, coconut.
I've asked for one. I think it's a lot of guilty pleasures rolled into one. But it's
I
okay.
can't I can't separate them. I can't. We just
I
discovered a
hear
new
you.
ice cream for that's it's called McConnell's, and it
Okay.
blends seas candy in some of the flavors as well. But the one I love the most is a coconut toasted almond with some kind of chocolate. Oh my, Mel, I can't have it in the house.
Oh,
It screams to me, come and
oh,
get me.
I hear you. Pet peeve.
Say it again.
Pet peeve.
Oh, pet peeve. Anytime I see anyone being openly rude or disrespectful to another human. Yeah.
Your biggest strength.
Uh, I think it would be uh, rising from difficult situations and finding joy very intentionally, very purposefully. I think my kids would say that too.
Thank you. That was our fire round. Now
Oh man, I could keep going. This is so fun. I
we
love
can
what
keep
you
going.
asked.
I just let you talk a little longer these other questions. So, like to start from the beginning. Were you organized as a little girl?
Uh yeah, I think I was. I think it is a an awareness of, you know, kind of where things belong, and order being so much better than chaos. You know, if you think about, even now, I'll use a different example with my kids. I taught them to make sure that any sport, every sport, they put their stuff, their equipment in the same bag in the same place every single time, so that we're not, you know, rushing. Where are my cleats, or where's my basketball? You know, so early, and I think it started young for me.
Helps. What was your dream growing up?
This is crazy, but I have been wanting to write a book. I'm not kidding you, since I was probably in the fifth grade, and I have chapters, but I need that. I have to do that and make time for that, because my mom was the first one that said, "Oh, Judy, you write really well. Why don't you write a book?" And that was like when I was in the fifth grade. So I have to
Wow.
get that going.
Fiction, nonfiction, fantasy.
Oh,
What's
it'd be the real deal. It would have to be true, real stories that I've either lived with or in or experienced. I probably would have to change the names to protect the guilty in some parts of my story. There's some examples I would want to be quite so known. Know what I mean? But it'd still be truth.
what's stopping you now, or is it in the process? Are we gonna see? I would like to. I would love
Well,
to.
you're. I
One of the
said,
first ones to read that.
the the only thing stopping me, honestly, is the fact that when I start to write, I get myself sort of deep in it, and then I reread it and I go, no, that didn't do it. But I think I'm coming up with something that might help me, which is maybe even using AI, but to generate by verbal word, to actually speak the book
Have
versus
someone.
sitting and writing every chapter, because I do think I could get it done faster, I'll bet.
Do you write
So,
on the computer or you write by handwrite it?
yeah, I do it on my laptop, and I honestly, I think maybe that could be faster, but I think I'm a better letter writer. So, it would be kind of like, next I'm going to try verbal. And then if that doesn't work, then I guess I would go to handwritten pages. The book is in me. I've got chapters named, and I have quite a few book titles in mind. Most of them, I want very much to be able to show the connections between who I am just as a human, and who I am when I'm working with organizations, and especially helping executives or leaders in general know what it takes, what it means to be an exceptional leader. And I think that theme is true even with your family. There's someone that really often has to step up and get stuff done. And in my family, that's me. I lost my mom and dad both quite, I would say not quite young per se, but in this day and age, I lost my mom to lung cancer, and it was
How old were you?
I was 32.
Mm. Yeah, that's
And I just have such vivid memories of doing things to help her or make her comfortable or take care of her while she was there, and administer medicine, etc. And then my dad came to live with us after my mom passed away. So I did a lot of caregiving with him as well. And even way back when my husband and I first got married, we brought his mom in to
Mm.
live with us because he had lost his dad when he was only 17.
Wow.
So a lot of, I think a lot of the real stories I want to tell are hopefully by chapter, maybe even things that other people would say, oh, wow, that's something I might not have thought of, or, there's something I could do with that. So yeah, I've always got ideas. I just have to get to it.
Let's just hope that this conversation will lead to that, because I have, different questions, and now you opened to another set of questions that I realize one conversation might not be enough, and we
Oh,
might set a
I would,
series to make a book out of it, or a video.
I can already tell you are someone that I think would be a great prompter or a great facilitator. Like let's get cracking here. I've had so much. I wouldn't even I wouldn't qualify it as pressure, but my kids know, and my closest friends know, and they're all asking the same question. So yeah, at a point, I'm just going to have to say,
What is the
I'm just
question they're asking? When?
yeah,
Okay.
why aren't you getting to, like you asked, why aren't you getting to it? So I think I'll maybe as I get a little closer to having more time, not in a context of the work that I do, because I've been working full time most of my life. So I'm trying to find time to protect, or time to block to do the writing.
What is stopping you right now? What is stopping you in working? I know the writers, seen, I've read. You're a writer, you close the door, you have a desk, white paper, computer. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Is it you,
Yes.
or it's a you or time or something, and you don't have a sign from above? Seems like you have it already. You have all the signs that you needed from
I
cosmic
think you,
energy.
I think you're right, and it's definitely probably that I have to crack that nut for sure. I mean, I just have to figure out what is. It's like I could say, well, I don't really have quiet time. Well, I could make quiet time. I could find quiet time, I'm sure. So
I would love to go on
maybe
the road and be your, interviewer when you do book signings with people. I would love
I love
to be with
Mel.
it.
I describe myself as a pathological optimist. I have a funny feeling you are as well, and you're just like, let's go, let's do
I don't
this.
call it
So
pathological. I think call it's normal, but some
okay,
people do too.
yeah,
Too.
no,
Well, I look
I
forward. I know if it's in you, it's going to materialize one way or the other. One day,
I appreciate that
whenever
very
you're
much, and
ready.
I'm gonna shy doing a pinky swear. I will get it done. I will. Yeah,
Just as long as you enjoy it. I know you're find time, and we'll enjoy whenever
yeah,
the process.
yeah.
Did college prepare you for the organization development? What you're doing right now?
Honestly, no, and that was partly because I really didn't have any focus or any idea at the time that organization development would become my calling. And I'll tell you a funny story. I actually began my career wise, working at Macy's,
Okay.
and while I was going to school. And I'm embarrassed to tell this, but I have to tell the truth. My sister and I had just moved up with my family for the second time from Southern California to Northern California. And we were both just like bored out of our minds. And my sister said, I'm going to look for a job at the Emporium, which is long out of business. And I said, okay, I'll go to
Remember
Macy's.
that. I know. I remember.
So I go to Macy's, and this person in front of me is asking for an application, and she says, how old are you? And she said, 17. And she goes, oh, you have to be 18 to work here. And so, of course, Judy McCoy at the time wrote that I was 18, and they hired me on the spot, and I wound up staying there for 15 years. I progressed. I became a sales manager, a group sales manager, an assistant buyer, and then a buyer.
Wow.
And it was only after that run that I was like, yeah, no, I need something new and fresh. So I got into biotech accidentally. It was actually
Mm.
after I left Macy's that I went to work for a young biotech company and fell in love. I first of all fell in love with the business of finding, hopefully, cures, but if
Yeah.
not cures, therapies for patients. So thus began my journey to stay in that lane, to be in that industry. And I felt it was the perfect alignment for me in what I'm passionate about and how I could help, because I'm going to say this, a lot of the people that I have worked with, I would qualify as brilliant, like
Mm.
test proven brilliant, and very high IQ. I would never test high on the IQ, but on the EQ, I'd be off the charts. And
Me too. Not the other way around.
I can tell that I can. I mean, it's crazy how I could
Yes,
tell that right away, and just the way you think and sort things. So I actually found that was my niche. That was my calling, was to make it a point to pair up or to build, be with a team of people, most often men. This goes, back 35 years, 40 years even. And they could be sitting in a room talking about something scientific or something related to medicine, and I wouldn't know what they were talking about, but I could sure tell when the conversation was not going well. Their actions or the tension or conflict that arose, man, I was like on that so fast. And it's funny because a lot of the people that I worked with would say, how did you know that? Or like, how did you figure that out? And I was like, well, I just watch it. I see it. I observe it. I can feel it. And thus began my road to doing organization development with biotech executives and leadership teams.
Can we
So,
just go back for a moment?
sure.
I can't let it go. You were 15 years. You spent, was it Macy's or Emporium?
Macy's.
Macy's.
Yeah. My sister didn't get the job, by the way.
Okay. Well,
I felt badly.
it's all right. You got a discount for her, I'm sure.
It was there's a reason for that. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
You were working 15 years. You gave your life to fashion. I Let's bridge it to biotech. What was that revelation? I understand being tired of Christmas season and
Yeah.
seasonal, and it's a hectic
Mm,
environment. I understand fashion and
yeah.
advertising and merchandising and buying. I do understand that, but I understand perhaps jump to I don't know, journalism, project manager within the same industry, but that's
Yeah.
entirely different industry and seems like from buyer to organization
Oh,
development,
yeah.
coaching.
Wildly different.
What was the pivotal moment that was it conscientious choice that you I understand that it's incredible what you do is wonderful and working with brilliant people. rewarding. But what was this? How did you cross this bridge? What was there
Well,
a day or somebody you met, somebody you knew? It's a very entirely different industry. Seems like.
yeah. I will tell you, there was one conversation when I was still in retail that kind of summed it all up. And there was a friend that I was talking to, and I said, "How are you doing in this retail environment?" Like, she goes, "Oh, I'm real busy saving lives over here. We're out of stock on white basic T-shirts." It's like, that's the big crisis. Or, "Oh, we've got a sale and we didn't advertising screwed something up, and now everybody's all in a tizzy and is like, oh my god, this fire drills and things for you know buying a toaster and housewares, or buying kids back to school clothes, whatever it was. The crisis of the day, it just paled in comparison to a friend that went to work for a biotech company. And there it was, we're busy trying to save lives over here. Like, everything we do, no matter what function in biotech or pharma, you actually play a clear role in being able to say you helped get that drug to market, or you helped get that drug to patients. Even though I'm no PhD, no scientist per se, but I think I do have now. I think I have kind of a finely tuned sixth sense. I read people and situations very, very well. I mean, makes me laugh. Some of the people that I've worked with really well, they'll call me the people whisperer, or the kinds of things that they just find. I mean, to them, it's the same thing as somebody was talking about, molecular structures, and whether it would be the same. You lost me at hello. Um, but that was the time that made me say, I just can't do this anymore. And you mentioned that the 21 days straight at the holiday time, and flying to New York every 6 weeks to find the new trend. All of a sudden, it was just like, this is not how I want to spend my life. So I guess I could say I really, I landed in it. It wasn't intentional when I set out to find. It was really the friend who called me and said, "Hey, they've got a really cool opportunity for someone in OD." And I kid. I will offer you this, Mel. There are a lot of people who don't know what organization development is, and so I say to them, "Well, let me tell you first. I don't do closets," because people think it's like, "Oh, you're going to come and help organize, my Tupperware," or I'm going to,
Well,
something that.
is that what
And
people
this is,
think
oh
about?
yeah, it's
Oh
very
wow!
common, very common.
Wow.
Uh, but I do feel like this has aligned beautifully with my own purpose, and my own purpose is to have a positive impact on my family. And this is an ordinal statement: is my family, my friends and loved ones, and the people that I work with who are doing amazing things for patients. It's like that little bundle. I want my legacy to be that I really contributed, or I elevated, or I helped someone get to a higher level of their own performance. That's what I'm
Mm.
hoping for.
Sounds like a great legacy to have. I know you distinguish between organization and organizational development. Everywhere I
Mhm.
read organizational development, your
Mhm.
CV says organization development, and it appears that you are serious, if not adamant, about the distinction between the two. Would you like
Mhm.
to elaborate a little bit?
Well, the first thing actually is more a differentiator, just the very fact that someone would say, organizational development is a, yeah, is a field, a body of work, or field of practice, or whatever. When I say organization, I'm including the the people in the organization, the tools in the organization, the systems in the organization. It's all about how to get that organization's performance to a higher level faster. And so for me, I want that differentiator, that kind of, maybe someone would say, well, that sounds like what an organizational development consultant would do. Yeah, they probably, I mean, they might, but I like it to be kind of my own my own field, if you will.
It's very nuanced. I understand. I thank you for distinguishing. I understand
Oh,
the difference, and I'm sure the viewers will do too. Describe your dream client.
oh, wow. Well, first, they have to actually want to learn, because I have been brought into companies by like a chairman of the board for a reason. And no, there's no way. I wouldn't even want to go into a situation like that where the CEO is resistant, doesn't want this, but the board thinks they need it. That kind of that it's a little antagonistic or suspicious. Um, however, I would want someone to be as authentic, as kind of ready to make whatever changes are necessary to get that organization to fulfill its purpose. And a CEO or a client has to understand that first you have to have a clear strategy. That's the first thing. So if they understand, well, wait a minute, what is a strategy? Well, of course you could say, well, it's a plan. But I break it into a vision is a 5-year look ahead, a strategy is a 3-year look ahead, and the 1 year is your corporate goals and your corporate performance. And they all roll, right? They're always, you're always kind of looking forward. So I want an individual who can articulate easily why they exist, why their organization exists. We are here to cure cancer. We are here to help patients with wet AMD in the ophthalmology world. Pick a scientific preference, and then I would want them to know that they have to have the right structures in place if they want to achieve that strategy. And then I would say below that, you actually have to have all of the right processes, systems, tools, and programs. And right there, you'd be thinking, wow, that's a heavy lift within an organization. And certainly sometimes when I start with a small biotech, maybe even before they go public, they're like, wow, this all sounds like a foreign language to me, but they're hungry to learn. I love that. And then if they follow those things, execution will tell us all, did it work? Has it done what we wanted it to do? And I find that a lot of the clients that I partner with, they have me stay for a long time. Very, very unusual, because I don't think they know what it is that I can do or what it is that I do until they sort of see it and begin to experience it themselves. And from that work, that high level work, it could be that I literally design a program for them, a leadership program. This is what is expected of leadership at fill in blank, or working with organizations to make sure that they have a values-based culture. And do they have core values that they could speak to? Because if they don't, we should get at that, So just hungry and eager and genuine and optimistic.
What would be your process when somebody is not open to transformational leadership, or somebody sat in their own ways
Yeah.
of their strategy and vision and not necessarily open to seeing it any other way? Not other
I have
opinions, but just when somebody's showing them.
Sure. I mean, you are remarkable in the kinds of questions that you ask, because If that were to be your description of the CEO who's got to own all this, I wouldn't want to partner with them anyway. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be open for business. They wouldn't be hungry. But I have had that experience when the CEO brings me in and we're working within the executive team, and there's someone there who's like, oh, this is all way too. In fact, what has definitely still occurred, it's really kind of sad actually, is they think all the stuff that I do is too soft, that I hate that expression, touchy feely. I hate it. But there are people out there in the world that are like, I have bigger fish to fry. I have other things I'd rather be doing. I don't need to sit here and listen to that kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think there are a fair number of, if not just control freaks, there are a fair number of narcissists that I've met in positions of power, and they're very blocked. They're hindered by their own disability. I don't know, lack of ability to recognize that probably the highest performing organizations around the world, whether it's sports or in another field, they don't recognize that when it all comes down to it, it's all about how the people work together to make these dreams come true. It's you can't do it alone.
Do you agree
So
that ego is a great thing if you know how to use it right?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, another question, the same topic. Brene Brown,
Mhm.
emotional and vulnerability in leadership. When I read it first, I'm like, what the? It's so lonely at the top. It's people, it probably is. I've heard stories, I've read stories that it is it's touchy feely to me. I know you don't. I see, but what is your take on vulnerability at the top? I think it's very important to that when it opens up your optimal performance.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it?
Well, first things first, I would say we have to always make sure words matter, but actions matter more. So it's not always what is said, but I would offer this. I think if I said to 100 people just in my neighborhood, when I say vulnerability, what do you think it means? It probably means you're going to cry on me. It probably means you're a softie. Probably means you could be a pushover. You know, and in Brene Brown's, in the framework of her work, which I've studied very deeply, uh, she really sees vulnerability as an openness, a willingness, the capability to say to someone, "I've never done this before. I'm a little nervous." I have a client I'm working with right now, and one of the things that he said fairly early on was, I've never taken the organization this far, in the process of getting to a commercial or to a drug. And I love that, because you know what? That just says you're brave enough or willing enough or open enough to say, geez, you've asked me to do something now that I'm not sure I know how to do, or I don't want to pretend that I've got this. I've got this, to look strong or to look like you've got it all together. But I think vulnerability and authenticity are foundational competencies, because people are people, Mel. They know when somebody's, giving them a bunch of, expletive deleted. They're, yeah. So I think the ability to connect with people in a way that makes it, you trust what I'm saying is valid and true. I might have a different opinion, but I can be open to listening to what the other opinion might be. That it's a giant bundle of behaviors to be vulnerable. I think you learn more when you're willing to say, I don't know how to do that. Somebody's willing to teach you.
From your experience of working with most brilliant people in the industry, what do great leaders have in common that you noticed?
Well, I think they are collectively on a spectacular mission to help patients of all kinds in different ages, stages, all of it. That's a different purpose. And I'll use an example like, SpaceX, to go where no man has gone before or no woman has gone before. I'm not dismissing that there are vital things that we learn uh, in our world and looking at other worlds and other planets. But I would offer that the people that I work with are all, I think they're generally people who want to do good in the world, motivated by that. Yeah.
How do you coach? I don't know if that's something you get involved with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Constructive versus destructive criticism.
Oh boy. Well, I certainly have watched more than I would have ever wished destructive examples. Some that are just so real and just present in my mind, even now that you've asked the question. Uh, I would offer that constructive, healthy, honest, but with a clear awareness of who I'm talking with. What would open their mind to realize how might you be more successful if you were open to taking some feedback or learning, even from a more junior employee, let's call it somebody, sort of not at their level. And there was a guy that I worked with years ago, and the best question I asked him was, do you know how you're perceived? And he said, no, not really. I mean, like really completely unknown. And maybe it was because it was an out of the blue kind of question. But we started talking about, well, what are the things that he thinks he demonstrates that would be admirable or that would be seen as really, moving the needle or, changing the world. So, and he honestly couldn't think of anything. And I said, well, that's part of your awareness, like awakening, to realize that often if I talk to 10 people on a team and they say that their manager is a horrible listener, I'll say, well, how does that show up? Like, what do they do? Oh, they cut me off. They turn around. They walk out. When I'm meeting with them, they're standing. This is a real story. Standing for their meeting, and with the person looking at his watch every 2 minutes, like, or come in for our meeting. I only have 7 minutes when 30 minutes were planned. So those kinds of things signal so much to people. So I like to know how people are perceived. I like to know what they think their best opportunities for growth and development would be. I'd like to hear it from their perspective because I might have my own view of things that I've witnessed with them. And then I can come back and say, well, here are some of the things that I've actually seen. And would you be open to learning a new and maybe different approach so that if you practice that, you would actually get a better result faster? That's kind of there's a common theme to my work. And I think whether it's coaching or one-on-one or with the team or leaders or executive teams, same diff, they're all human.
If you hear the answer to your question, would you like to learn different way? If the answer is no, do you walk out the door? Do you try to persuade any?
Um, I'm more than smiling at your question. Prompts a vivid memory of someone who pretty much did that. Kind of said, no, 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 I'm not. And I said, well, I can help you, and either you will be successful, or I cannot help you, and I can guarantee you will not be successful. So is your ultimate goal to be successful in your endeavor? Because if it is, you really you need some new and different ideas about what will make it work, or you need to learn more about the people that you're working with. If 10 out of 10 employees say my manager is a horrible listener, chances are I'm going to find that's probably true. And then I can ask that person, do you know that your people find you a very poor listener? That and I might even introduce some of the specific examples, like, I've heard that you look at your watch frequently. Do you do that? Well, yeah, I do. I do. I got a million things to do. Some people feel like they are far more important than other people, or I'm the boss, so I don't need to listen to that kind of stuff. Tell them to get over it. Those kinds of that is not that's not likely someone I would want to work with. And I want to offer one thing. I don't get brought into companies because they're broken, or that I'm working with an exec because they're a poor performer. I'm usually seen, and this may sound kind of crazy, but that it's like actually a benefit. Like you just got a perk. And in one of my client organizations, they kept saying, you've been Judied. Like I became a verb,
So
So
Google, I Judy. That's the same.
you kind of want that. I mean,
That's
I
a great
do.
compliment, I think.
Well, I love that I am at a place in my life where I can be real. And you know what? If I don't feel like the partner I'm with, or the person I'm helping, or whatever, if I don't feel like we are truly making a difference, and we're moving in the right direction, I'll bow out. I'll just say that I have another client, I don't have the bandwidth, and it's time to move on. But I know for younger people starting out, they don't have that. It's not so easy for them.
And you got a segue to my next question that came from listening to you. You've done it for quite some time. Do you see difference in mindset or leadership of older generation versus younger generation?
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
millennials.
yeah, yeah. First of all, I think this is another good thing to, like, if you just said to yourself, Mel, can you describe what a Gen Zer would be interested in? No, I couldn't. Then you need to learn, because your organization is going to reflect seasoned, experienced, entry level, based solely on the hierarchy of the positions that exist. If somebody's coming in to start learning, and they're the receptionist, they could still be fantastic, and like learn and grow and adapt, and now be interested in moving to another role. But yeah, I think I will stick to people in my generation who do a lot of well, this is the way I used to do it, or this is the way I do it, as if, okay, so that's good for you, but that's not necessarily where we are in history. So I think you have to learn. And I actually have paired up with another really amazing person. Her name's Danielle, and she is so interested in everything. I mean, she was probably the first person I ever knew. She's a chief HR person. She's probably the first person that I learned about TikTok. What's that? I mean, the kinds of things that she's on to, and she's done like presentations on the all the generations and what motivates them, and what things inspire them, and so it's very helpful to know who you're dealing with, for sure. But I will say, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, you find a lot younger leaders in tech. It makes a lot of sense, because the nature of the beast, and they grew up on technology. They had a screen before they maybe even looked at books. So it's vastly different, and I appreciate those differences. But in my industry, there are still a lot of boomers, and they're mostly because I think it's very different when I work at the more senior levels in the company. I don't have as much everyday kind of contact with the early stagers.
What do you like the most working with clients?
I really am so motivated by people saying something to along the lines of, "Wow, you really made a difference," or "That session you led was next level. Like I just loved it." Or I could lead a session and people will come up to me afterwards and say, "When can we do something like this again?" Like I want more. That I just like radiate joy when I experience that. Like when I can kind of see it, hear it, feel it.
Is there anything that you remember that you learned from your clients that you were something you discovered that you were just amazed by, that was really impactful on your life?
Well, I will
Anything
tell you,
like that? I mean,
yeah, one of my client companies uh, not only worked insanely hard to get a drug through phase 3 clinical trials, which is in and of itself can practically, you know, kill any deal. They got it through, they got it approved, and one of my closest friends, her nephew, is on that drug for kidney cancer. It's like real life. Like and whenever companies have a patient visit, I'm the one sobbing. I'm the one. I relate because I've lost my mom, my two sisters to cancer, and uh, just knowing that even what, even if you thought about weight loss drugs, I know that there are people who have diabetes that had they had that available to them, they might still be here today. I mean, I can honestly say that that's one that I think, wow, yeah, I have such respect, and I think again these are brilliant people, and I love, right. Sometimes when they're engaged in a deep scientific conversation, I just stare, I just listen, try to soak it all in, but a lot of it is just not in my wheelhouse. But I'm so glad I could be in the room with them when they're talking about how are we going to do this or what must be true. So that part is amazing.
finish the sentence. The most influential business leader of the past or present. I'll let you name three.
I'm gonna be very specific in this. I think that Jim Collins, who's an author who has written bestsellers like Built to Last and uh, How the Mighty Fall and Good to Great. They go on and on and on. But his philosophy and mine are very, very aligned in how great companies, they stand the test of time. And if you think about, for example, Apple, I mean, Jobs was really, well, it was written, it was proven. He was kind of I won't use the word. He was
Not a nice
very,
person.
yeah, rude, often short, disrespectful kind of thing, which, by the way, was one of my pet peeve things, remember? So I think about, he actually changed the world. Changed the world. And then the third one, leader. Hmm. I want to pick someone in my field, but I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm just gonna say, and it's going to sound way too personal, but I would say my husband, Michael,
Mm.
because there are still to this day, even though I lost him in 2018, there are still people who talk about him as how he changed their life or how he taught them everything they know and how they've gone on to be, highly successful leaders and executives in business. But he was such an honest, authentic, genuine, straight shooter, hard hitter, but he knew his stuff like nobody's business. He was really known throughout his industry in a very, very powerful way. So I have to, and that probably is for me, Mel, the way I look at my children and how they lead. And I'm just so proud. I'm really proud of who they are. And I think a lot about, well, how did they learn that? Well, I mean, a lot of that learning starts very, very young and at home. So yeah, the whole topic of leader, you and I could have a field that we could talk for hours on what constitutes a leader. Because I think most people think of it as a position of authority in business, right? And I see it in
Far
life.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did Michael do? You mentioned industry. What?
Yeah. He was in the men's footwear business. And he actually built brands, started off at Macy's. In fact, that's where I first met Michael. We didn't work together, but we knew each other. And he literally built brands that had Macy's at the top of the entire footwear industry. And he actually got to like design footwear and trend. He was so aware of trends, way ahead, and just built this huge business. And then went to be the head of the men's footwear division for the Men's Warehouse, which never had shoes in it before. So kind of new territory, new frontier kind of thing. Just yeah. So he trained a lot of people to know, how to grow the business, how to deal with people and stuff like that. So it was
What an
cool.
interesting conversation would that be? I love shoes. Man's Wave doesn't. It tells a lot of the person what kind of shoe and I don't mean brands or anything. Just the type of what you wear.
I see you know what, Mel, I'm going to
It's
tell you.
very telling story to me, and sense of brands. That's something I don't care, but you
I
can.
love the way you think because as a little kid, I can still hear my mom and dad talking about getting good shoes because you could tell a lot about a person from the shoes that they wear. And again, it wasn't about wearing Prada or it wasn't
Yeah,
a label.
far from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also think that he was a trailblazer because for many, many years, men didn't really pay attention to their footwear at all. And then look at the trends, how much business casual came
I
into
think they
play.
paid more, or like 30 years ago than they pay today. I would love to talk to him about, tuxedos and sneakers or tuxedos and vans.
See,
That's a style I still try to
that's
wrap.
the
I'm trying to date
that's the
myself,
trend.
but I still try to wrap my, proms and looking what do you wear? Why not loafers? I mean, I can understand loafers without socks. I understand
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But what like seriously, Vans, and they're beat up Vans, and I
I
I
know.
I would love
It's
to
crazy.
ask one particular question. Why? What is the trend? What is the style? Is it going to go away?
Yeah,
Perhaps like big
I know.
shoulder pads, kind
Well,
of.
and when you're responsible for like bringing the trends in, yeah, it could boil down to did you pick the right thing or didn't you? I mean, it's a big investment when you start putting them in 100 stores, or it's a big investment. So
My
yeah,
husband is very particular. His dad was making shoes out, shoemaking a long time ago as
oh,
kind of side business. So it was interesting you mentioned
wow,
that. It's quite
wow. We
long,
need to
long,
I need to learn more about you and your background. I'm telling you,
long,
you got
long
stories for
time
me.
ago.
Yeah.
How
You
do you
got to
measure
turn the tape.
success?
How do I measure success? Uh,
Personal. We're not talking obviously financial success. I
yeah.
mean, also
Yeah.
perhaps you
No.
measure success in a dollar sign. I mean, your success,
I think
Judy,
I would
personal.
I think I would say how do I measure it is could you look at what you've done today or this month or this year and say you've made a positive difference in either in someone's life or in your sphere. um, would you be proud? Would you be proud of what you accomplished? And I do think it has to do with what are you willing to give, you know, to make this world a better place.
What is your proudest achievement?
Oh, my children, 100%. And not only my children, but now my grandchildren, because I have my oldest daughter has an 18-year-old that's just heading off to college.
Oh,
And
wow.
my son, Dan, and his wife, Jackie, just had, well, not just because she's going to be two at the
Wow.
end of September, little Bella. I mean, they're just, each one of them, I'm so proud of. They're differentiators. They are. And I think they're making the world a better place for sure. Very proud of them.
You were a working mom all the time. Did you ever feel guilt of being a working mom?
Oh my God, Mel. I can still remember standing in my kitchen on the phone, and my little Dan was only like 2. And he would come around the corner and say, Mommy, are you still in your nightgown? As if I was still in my nightgown. I was home. And it was
Mhm.
like, definitely. In fact, when we were interviewing places to help us take care of Danny when he was first a baby. I walked into one place and it was all cribs, like cribs, and I thought it looked like an orphanage, and I burst into tears and I ran out and I said, Michael, we can't put our precious little Danny there, but definitely struggles, and in my world of work, there often either changes or things that are happening within the business that require you work, 12, 14, 16, whatever hours it takes. And a lot of my friends who did not work or maybe even just worked part-time would say, how do you do that? How can you do that? Well, I had a fantastic support system in my husband. And, I just feel like we knew that we knew we'd be a successful, healthy family, even if I did work. And I guess I just, at the time when Dan and Katie were both really little, we had a live-in nanny who
Mhm.
stayed with us, and she's coming over to visit me on Friday next week. She's still in our lives and
Special
love her to
bond.
pieces. So you can't do anything alone. Remember, it takes a village for sure. Yeah.
What does loyalty mean to you?
Oh, wow. Mel, dang, you're getting at the heart of the matter kind of things for me. Uh, Loyalty is huge for me, and it's not blind. It's not. I'll say anything you want me to say, puppet like. It's not a loyal friend. Could be the person who I know who's going to give me really true, honest, healthy feedback. Might actually say, you know, something that needs to be said, and I think it's a sign of respect and a sign of trust that they want to be loyal to you, and I want to be loyal to them.
If not organization development and executive coaching that you do, what would you like to do in your life?
Mm. I think I would have liked to be a singer.
Singer, opera singer,
God,
or
I mean, sort of. I've never seen the likes of a Taylor Swift before, but to write your own music, to perform your own music, to play to gigantic crowds. I just think it sounds exciting and kind of fun. And way when I was young, I sang with the choir, and I did stuff that, kind of not a choir like church choir, but like a school choir. And I really liked it. So I think maybe that's what I would, I don't know. So
Never,
it's so late in the game for me now, Mel, that I'm like, huh.
never. That would be a huge crowd, from your book signing, and you can sing as well. That would be arranged.
You're the best. You're the best. Okay, wait till I get to interview you. It's going to be a blast. All your
What
questions.
motivates you?
What?
What motivates you? What do you find? What inspires you, motivates you?
Yeah. Seeing the results of whatever I do paying off. If a company I'm working with gets to that phase 3 and they're successful, and then they get to I get to say I was there with with them when they did that. And even when it doesn't happen like that all the time, there are phases. There are phases and stages where, wow, you got to that, or to get to a company being public. That's like a little tiny startup, and then you feed that, and I just think that some of the people that I've worked with have been very progressive in hiring me to partner with them to get to those next levels. It's pretty rare, I think. I don't think a lot of leaders reach out for coaching or reach out for this kind of partnership as much as they probably should, or they benefit from. But yeah, I'm very motivated by seeing good things come to life.
How would you like to unwind after a long day?
Shoes off, for sure. Barefoot. Truthfully, probably a really beautiful glass of wine, or a lemon drop. I don't know. And laughing. I would say most everything if I'm going to watch, I'm just a raving lunatic for the Warriors. I love the Warriors. I love to watch the games in season. But almost any comedian that's clean, someone like Nate Bargatze. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
He's hilarious, and he doesn't swear. He doesn't say any foul things. He's just hilarious. So I'd like to unwind like that, probably end of a long day, and just chill.
What do you find funny?
Everyday situations are my favorite, where somebody says something that's just like, wow, that was off the wall. It makes me laugh. Bella makes me laugh hard a lot. I mean, it's just the way she says things. So when she wants to be picked up, she says, I want to hold you. And it's like, wait, yeah, I want to hold you. Yeah. But she's just so, and I love being with my kids when we talk about fun stories of things that went wrong when we were young. The Christmas tree fell off the car one time with my brother following right behind. I mean, that kind of stuff, like just reality.
Describe what you like the most about being a mom and now a grandma.
Oh boy, wow! I've got a long list of that. I swear to God, it's about feeling just being so connected to them, being such a part of their lives, they're being such a part of my life, to feel like I'm and still integral, or so I'm important to them. We spend a lot of time together, so I love that we do that. I think being a mom and seeing your children suffer, I swear to God, it hurts me more, I think, than it does them. You know this, Mel. You're a beautiful mom. Uh, the old saying, my mom had a million sayings. One of them was, a mom is as unhappy as her least happy child, and that's so true. If you have four kids and
I
one of
always
them's,
say it too. I
you
love
say
it. You
that too.
absolutely, I love this. It's funny you said that. It's one of my favorite. It's how I feel. Absolutely.
I think it's so true because when you think about the age ranges of kids and what they're into and what matters to them. If you're dealing with your 2-year-old and they just stub their toe and they're crying, it's like, oh, that's super fixable. I can give you some warm love and affection. And then an adult who's got serious anxiety issues and has struggled mightily and for a long time. I kind of immediately, when something really big and gnarly happens, I go right to the books. I go right to the research. I go listen to the podcast. I go whatever I could do. And Katie and I have done some films, filmed some TikToks on anxiety, and
Mm.
Dan knows what that is like too. It's debilitating. So very that's the kind of stuff that I think, wow, I mean, if I can help them through a dark time, or if I can help them achieve their purpose, just watching your kids thrive, right? You know what that feels like too.
Yeah. Fortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Judy, are you enough?
Am I enough for, in what context?
For yourself, do you feel you're enough?
Yeah, I do think I'm enough. I feel like no one ever has to tell me. Uh, Honestly, Mel, I don't think people have to tell me to do something twice. I'm very, I own what I should own. Um, I love to feel like I'm, um, giving and getting. The mutual, that give and take. I love that. Yeah, I don't think I've ever questioned, like, well, why didn't I do this, or I should have done more of that. I don't think I spend much time at all there. It's a great question to ponder.
It seems you have a great relationship with your partner of many years. Any advice you will give your kids or anybody who's perhaps just getting married or going through a rough patch with their partners?
Right. Well, here we go again. The saying is, "To thine own self be true." And I think sometimes when, especially if kids feel like they have found someone, and maybe they're young and they don't even really know what they're finding, you know, um, I think those different stages are, they're important, and you have to, kind of pay attention. Uh, but I kind of feel like looking at what people need and how you might be able to help them is important.
The last question is the same for each guest. What do you find extraordinary in every day?
I just, your questions bring me to a beautiful place of thoughtful reflection. Honestly, Mel, you do. I think that question's beautiful. What do I find extraordinary is when I could sit at the kitchen table uh, with my kids and Bella, or when I could say to Minz when she says, "Do you want to drive down to Monterey and see Paige?" And I go, "Let's go. Let's do it." I think that's extraordinary in an ordinary life. To be healthy. Oh, I'm telling you, that's so much a part of it. To be lucky enough. Uh, and I mean, I'm telling you, Mel, it's an affliction. I have watched someone through an act of kindness do something for someone else, like in front of me, or somebody helping somebody, or my kids doing something and I just like burst into tears because that is so beautiful. So it could be a little thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Lots of extraordinary and ordinary. Sorry for
Thank you.
chewing.
No, it's life. We're alive. We're authentic. So I thank you for our conversation. I had a
Oh,
great time.
Mel, I seriously, I would do this every day. Every day.
Let's do it
It's
again. I'm sure with a
yeah.
lot of topics I know we haven't covered lots of topics, so
Well,
I'm
you got
absolutely open.
okay. So I wanted to. Well, we can close on this if you'd like. I sort people. This is a little comedic, but kind of fundamentally true as well. Two camps: people who get it, people who don't. You are absolutely in the people who get it category. And I think that that's part of being authentic. That's part of extraordinary in the ordinary, that there's a differentiator in it. And the people that don't get it, you can't coach that. Somebody has brown eyes, they're going to have brown eyes. Somebody's a pessimist, they're going to be a pessimist. But some of the other stuff too is like not my jam. I want to spend my time where I believe in the people I'm with. So thank you so much for this time. It was fun. It
Thank
flew.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.